Oh my god, and we're live. Hello, my name is Ben Carter, and right now I am actually going to willingly die studying for a push. So, right now I have, uh, so what I have to study right now, excuse me, so I have a lot of things going on right now. I just thought it'd be a really fun thing, just to vlog and just capture the moment of me freaking dying here. And so, what I have here is got this little AP U.S. History Barons thingamajig, and I also got a beautiful live stream. Here, let me just show you it real quick. So, this guy is a legend. He is the beast. Okay, so basically what he does, he freaking has an Apush review hangout. What the frick? I am proud. I am proud of my mans for I'm proud of my mans, he's doing the greater good right here. And he is hosting a freaking Apush study sesh. I don't know what I'm doing. I am hosting my own AP study sesh because I thought it would just be fun just to have you guys just watch me actually die. And, I'm just having a fun time. So hi, I have my first viewer. Welcome to my AP study sesh, and I am just studying, just having a good time. Just kidding, I'm dying, and I really wish the end of the year was here. So, just to recap right here, boys. I have I have a lot of things going on. I got a Quizlet doopy lit, and I did not create the Quizlet. I'm one of those charming little people who just does a little Google right here and just says AP US History study terms, and then boom, Quizlet. Yes, it's a myth that you actually have to make your own Quizlets. You can just drag on the feet of people who've actually done the work and actually made Quizlets. So that's just so I can literally just just Google right here AP US Apush Quizlet, and then I just go and boom, I literally get so much Quizlet stuff. Okay, let me just flip the camera real quick so you know what I'm talking about. So, compilation of all the vocab sections, there is, oh my lord, 1,602. My man, so why you gotta do this to me? I'm trying to not die in this night. Granted, I should have studied a long time ago, but skimming the good old Barron's AP US history book like any struggling high school student, just scrolling down. And let's just go over this, guys. Just you and me and you. Got a Quizlet up here. Let's go. I can help you. You can help me. Okay, so first thing we got on here is the Mayflower Compact. So the Mayflower Compact was the first agreement. Who is Tom Ritchie? Okay, thank you so much. Tom Ritchie. It could be Tom Ritchie. I know I'm not oblivious to the fact that I know that so many hecking people are doing live streams of this stuff. I just thought it'd be fun, just to give back, just just have a live stream and a student teaching from the students, and for the students, how it is, yeah. Yeah, I was actually on this guy's Apush hangout of a little while ago, and it is so helpful. It is so helpful, you guys. It is amazing that this guy is doing this because just he doesn't have to do it. He's doing it anyway. Deserves a big shout out. Anyway, this live stream is probably more for my benefit because I'm just kind of refreshing up on my Apush stuff in preparation for tomorrow. Anyway, let's go. My Mayflower Compact. So it was the first agreement for the self-government in America. So it's the pre Constitution. I know it has little to no correlation, but that's how I remember it. It's like the pre-Constitution. It's the very first written document that has ever been formally signed, excuse me, in America, which is pretty cool. It's pretty important. It's a pretty important work of American literature, in my opinion. And so right now, we're just in the very beginning, in the very beginning. So, moving on to William Bradford. So, William Bradford was pretty important in the Plymouth colony. He was the second governor, and he helped develop private land ownership, and he helped colonists, get out of debt and stuff, which is pretty cool. He helped the Plymouth colony survive droughts, crop failures, and Indian attacks. So William Bradford was a pretty influential person in the Plymouth colonies. That's a good thing to note. I am Bradford, Plymouth colonies. Okay, so now that we're in just the Pilgrim Age, let's just get into what the differences are. The Pilgrims were separatists who believed that the Church of England could not be reformed. So basically, they just jumped off the sinking ship, which, well, to them was a sinking ship of the English Christianity, and said, "Bye, fam, suckers." He said, "Bye, fam, suckers," and the Pilgrims, they left England, and they all went all the way to America because they wanted religious freedom. Okay, so who are the Puritans? It's a good thing you asked, because I have the answers right here. So the Puritans were non-separatists, and they wanted to adopt reforms to purify the Church of England. So the Pilgrims were like, no, Church of England, no, 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 no. And they did not want anything to do with the Church of England ever again. They wanted to make their own church, own little church. And the Puritans were like, Church of England's pretty cool, not gonna lie, but we should make it better. And that's what they wanted to do. That's the basic goal of the Puritans. Right, so what's the Massachusetts Bay Colony? Well, I'll let you know. So King Charles, Massachusetts Bay Colony was established when King Charles gave the Puritans the right to settle and govern a colony in the Massachusetts Bay Area, and it was one of the earliest examples of political freedom and had a solid representative government, which, pretty cool. I'm saying pretty cool a lot. I'm sorry, you guys. So if there is anyone watching, and I can see that there isn't, I would suggest you guys to go over to the Apush study hangout that Tom Ritchie is doing. And it is really cool what this guy's doing, because he is living the dream. He is doing a really great job. I suggest you go check out Tom Ritchie's Apush review hangout. I just thought I would do this little Apush hangout thing because, I'm a student, I'm struggling, I'm going to do this to help me, hopefully help someone out there. I don't know. Alright, so, you could just, it's kind of like a podcast, except you can just listen and just learn and absorb the facts. That is really nice. I'm just browsing through the Quizlet, and I'm just making a mental note of everything that's happening. So what is the Cambridge Agreement? So in 1629, Puritan stockholders of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which was one of the first colonies to have a religious freedom, and they agreed to immigrate to New England on the condition that they would have control of the government of the colony. Oh my god. I don't even know. Okay, let's skip ahead a little bit. So, Puritan migration. So, the Puritan migration, basically what Puritan is, I said this before, I'll say it again. A Puritan is someone who left the Church of England, but they still believed that the Church of England was salvageable, unlike the Pilgrims, who were just like, nah fam, Church of England, I don't know her anymore. So, yeah. I think at this point, I'm just going to watch the Apush review hangout. Hi guys, welcome to my Apush study sesh. Right now, I am just having a fun time watching Tom Ritchie's Apush review hangout. It is a fun time. I suggest you go on over there and give this illustrious man some support, because he does not have to do this. He is living his best life. So, I don't even know. I should probably put the link of this guy's reach hangout in like the bio of my live stream. Feel free. I don't know what that means. So yeah, I'm just having a fun time. I'm going backwards from looking at his live stream, Tom Ritchie, and looking at the Quizlet and looking at my very trusty Baron's AP, Apush AP, technology and stuff. See if I can find my live stream. I just googled myself. Oh my god, I love the fact I just freaking. I'm gonna just put the link in bio of his amazing. Link to Tom Ritchie's Apush. I'm putting the link to Tom Ritchie's Apush study hangouts. So I'm just having a fun time right now. Just kidding, I'm having a horrible time. Booyah. There we go. It has been linked. Don't you worry, guys. Don't you worry. I'm living my best life. So right now, Tom Ritchie is going over the slavery amendments. Apush teachers only grades a pop quizzes every. Hold on, let me just go to the live stream right here. Apush teachers only grades a pop quizzes. Pop quizzes. Ew. Gross. Oh god. At least I know like in advance when my Apush teacher like has a test, because like we know like weeks before. Like we don't have like tiny little quizzes. We just have like big square tests like every few weeks, and it's fine. They're really difficult to get through, and they're really not fun. But I'm living. Sophia. Oh, so it's inside joke. Feel free. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, it's just inside joke. I understand. I get it. I am Gucci with the children. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just so tired. But it is only 9 o'clock, and the night has just begun. I don't even know what I'm doing. So back to the amazing Apush review hangout. He's going over the slavery amendments, which is the 13th, the 14th, the 15th amendment. Very fun amendments. I'm just listening. It's like a podcast. It's just like a education-based podcast. I just love like how this guy he's going back from actually teaching to like saying thank you so much to people who follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. Check out my website. I love this guy. He's a goat. There's some good information. I'm just going to QUIZLET really quick. My god, this guy has 4,000 viewers. That is pretty good. Pretty good, not gonna lie. He's living his best life. Let's go to the Quizlet. Right here. So I'm just gonna scroll through and just, So, John Winthrop. John Winthrop was the first governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and he served in that capacity from 1630 to 1649. So he was basically just the top dog of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Pretty nice. Good job, John Winthrop. And he helped organized the New England Confederation and served as his first president. And some things to note about John Winthrop is that he opposed total democracy, and he believed that the colony should be best organized by a small group of skillful leaders. So, separatists. So, non-separatists believe that the Church of England could be purified through reforms, basically like the Puritans. So non-separatists are basically Puritans, and separatists are basically pilgrims. So separatists are just like, no fam, no, we cannot live here anymore. We gotta go to America and make our own freedom in religion. And they did. They left. And they believed that the Church of England could not be saved no matter what. But the Puritans believed it could, but it needed some help, just like I do right now. If you're just tuning in, then hi, my name's Ben Carter, and welcome to my AP U.S. History Study Session. I almost said AP Research, a class I'm also in, and I'm also dying in. I'm just reading over the Quizlet, just reinforming you guys on just some bomb.com stuff. Right now, about to get into a little fun little topic called Calvinism, which is a Protestant sect founded by my boy John Calvin, and it emphasized a strong moral code and believed in their predestination. Oh my God, I just love how when I start talking about John Calvin, everyone just freaking left. Bye. I guess I'll just be here alone. Yay. So Congregational Church. Congregational Church was founded by separatists who felt that the Church of England retained too many Roman Catholic beliefs. My goal for this live stream is that I can have like a lot of like Apush students here, just like, so we can have like a big inner circle of just people, we're just chilling, we're just serving up some sick facts, just like asking, hey, what about this? I'm so confused. And we can just, it's like a study group, it's like an online study group, and I am the ringleader. Hi, my name is Ben. Oh God. I'm just chewing, and I really want to shout myself out on the illustrious live stream of Tom Ritchie, but I won't do that because that would be a little bit just like going into the realm of Jake Paul, you know what I mean? Wow, we was talking about freaking Jake Paul on an Apush study live stream. That's taking tangents to a whole new level. Just having a fun. So back to the Quizlet. So, oh my God, I swear, like I'm looking over at the Quizlet for Apush, and it is literally just half of it I don't even know, because like A, I don't remember, and B, my teacher didn't go over it, because like you can only go over so much. How can a teacher go over all of this in 1 year? I know it doesn't seem like that much, but there's so much information here, you guys. There's so much information. Every single page is like this. Oh God, I really just this is really just too much information. They expect us to know all about American history as we go into this freaking exam tomorrow, which is going to be a very fun time. Maybe focus on 1770s to 1890s. Good thinking. Very good thinking. I'm just going to scroll on past the very, very, very dense realm of the 17th century and just go right into John Locke, blah blah blah, Utrecht, King George's War. God, France and Britain in the 18th century were so extra. They were just like, I just like big little Age of Jackson. Ooh, Age of Jackson, what a fun, illustrious man's. So I swear, like freaking France and Britain in The 18th century they were so extra. They were like two beauty queens in a high school, and they're just fighting over dominance, and they want to make sure that each they want to be better than the other, and they want to establish dominance in the high school cafeteria, aka the known world. And they just want to make sure that they are known, and they want to be the best, and they have so much freaking, and not to mention confusing little squabbles between them, if you will. So one of them being King George's War, it was basically just both of them just being really extra about Nova Scotia, and in I don't know, they just why well, economics, but that's a whole nother story. That goes into another part of U.S. history, which I am just not gonna go into because So French and Indian War, oof, ooh, that is a major oof. The 7 Years' War is a major oof for me because it's so confusing. I remember just like being in world history in like freshman year, just trying and struggling to understand why. But is the French-Indian War the same thing as the 7 Years' War, or is it different? Well, it's complicated, but they're interrelated in a way. It's kind of like the Cold War and the Korean War. The Cold War was the war that stretched out all the way here, and the Korean War was in here. Uh, except like that, except just like longer. Just I don't know, euphemism. Uh, Treaty of Paris. There are two There's so many freaking treaties signed in France. I swear. There's a Treaty of Paris in 1763. There's a Treaty of Paris in 1783. There's so many freaking treaties in Versailles. Treaty of Versailles ended World War One. Treaty of Paris 1763 ended the war between Britain, France, and Spain, just the 7 Years' War. Treaty of Paris in 1783 ended the Revolutionary War. Versailles. Yes, Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles. I'm just gonna look that up. I'm like fairly sure it was the one that ended World War One. Yep, I was right. It ended World War One. It basically pointed fingers at Germany and said, "You did a bad thing, Germany. You did a bad thing, and now you gotta pay the price. $33 billion, please." And did they ever pay that money back? I want to say they did, but it took them a really long time. So they, which led to, yes, exactly right. It led to World War II as well. It just paved the way. The Germans got really upset that Europe just pointed fingers at Germany, said, "Germany, no, you did a bad thing. Pay up, please. Thank you very much." And they're like, "No, but we were like only a little bit at fault." And it was just a lot easier just to point fingers at Germany than to actually like own up to everything, because world economics is basically just a bunch of overgrown toddlers just pointing fingers at each other, screaming. I'm a 16-year-old woke teen. What can I say? It did end World War II because a beautiful little man named Hitler gained some traction because of the anger caused by the Treaty of Versailles. Aren't we all? Oh my God! Now we're getting too woke. We're getting way too woke. Alright, back to this. Thank you very much. My God, so many acts. Oh, Stamp Act. Stamp Act. Where do I begin? Oh my God. Oh my God, the Stamp Act. Stamp Act was like the bomb in the path towards the American Revolution, because people just started to realize, oh my God, is England not a good overlord? What? No, I'd send my children over there for like studies and stuff. They're like my favorite country. That's not my country. And so basically what it was is that it was just, let me just look it up real quick so I just have a little bit. So it was an act of British Parliament that extracted revenue from American colonies by imposing a stamp duty on newspapers and legal and commercial documents. So it was a tax. Yeah, it was like a tax that, you know, Britain wanted money from America by it just wanted stamps and stuff. It imposed like a tax on America and the playing cards. Yeah, you know, just everyone did have playing cards because we didn't have the internet to, you know, just like fool around on, and the next best thing was playing cards. You know, you just have so many things you can play on playing cards. You can play Go Fish, you can play War, both of which were popular in my first grade class, and I dominated all of those games except freaking Gin Rummy. I could never get good at Gin Rummy. I was always just unlucky child. So Princeton, it required a tax on like literally any like printed stuff, and it basically just meant that all the paper that had to be used in America had to come from England, and you can't just hop on a plane and fly to England in like what, 6 hours. A freaking boat has to cross so freaking slow, and a boat can only carry so much paper. And so, where is all the freaking paper going? So it's just, and it was just a tax that was on on the colonists. They didn't like that. They really did not like that. And so it was repealed. Don't worry. It didn't end up like being solidified, and it was repealed, and England just hoped that everything would just go smooth sailing, ship sailing, but it never did. It never did, because it just planted the seed that would eventually grow into a big revolution. So, Sons of Liberty. That was one of the things that came out of it. It was like the whole thingamajig with the stamp packs, and some of the people in the Sons of Liberty were Paul Revere. The British are coming by sea, and they, you know, one lantern, the Boston Church, you know that whole story, you know, with two lanterns, one by land, two by sea. There were two lanterns, so they came by sea. Boston Church. So, Sons of Liberty, Quartering Act, yes, the quartering. Yeah, the Americans did not like the quartering. They really did not like quartering. They did not like quartering so much that they made an entire amendment about it in the Bill of Rights, which is technically still in use to this day. But they don't really do that anymore. No one really quarters troops anymore, because in the present day and age of our time, there are no troops that are just wandering around America. They're no troop, and technically it is still in use today. The Third Amendment, soldiers cannot be quartered in a time of peace, and yeah, you mean technically it's still like legal. You can't do that, but no one does it anymore. So it's just like kind of like one of those really old amendments that no one cares about. But you know, it's part of American history, bro, and it would be horrible to even repeal that, because you know, what if something happens again that causes things to be needing of that amendment? I know. So yeah, Quartering Act, not good, not good. Oh, the Boston Massacre. Oof. The Boston Massacre is a big oof. just all these little screw ups in like in the leading up to the American Revolution. They're just major oofs. So basically, the Boston Colonials, they hated the British soldiers in the colonies because they worked for like pretty low wages, and the British soldiers, they took jobs away from the colonists because they were very poor. They were pretty poor, and a few colonists, they were like, this is not fair. What would really set them right if we throw rocks and salt and snowballs at some British soldiers. That'll show them. That'll show them if you throw some rocks at soldiers that you don't mess with Boston. You don't mess with Boston. And the soldiers were like, whoa, who's throwing rocks at us? Oh, just some poor people. Let's shoot them. And they did. And they killed like 4? I think they killed 4. And that was not a good thing because they're just throwing rocks. They'd be like, why would you want to shoot people if you throw a rock at them? I threw a rock at a girl who was really mean to me in the 2nd grade. She called me a poopy pants. I threw a rock at her. I'm so glad I didn't die. Oh, yes, exactly. Anyway, let's do more of this amazing QUIZLET. I wonder where she is. I wonder what the girls. I saw her at a 7-Eleven 6 months ago, and she did not remember me. And I went on with my life. Anyway. Yes. Oh, oof. This is the oof that really just takes all the oofs right here. You know what it is. It's the Boston Tea Party. 1773 represents. So this requires a little bit of like backtracking a bit. So backtracking a little bit to the Tea Act, which basically put a tax on tea, which was not a good thing for colonists. And so, not because they were just getting really angry, and all this stuff that was happening it was not setting well with the colonists. There was like increasing distrust between colonists and the British soldiers. So you get the point. And so British ships carrying tea, they sailed into Boston Harbor, and they refused to leave until colonists took the tea. They didn't want that tea. They did not want that tea, sis. And because Boston was boycotting the tea in protest of the Tea Act, and they didn't want to let the tea being brought in because, like, I'm not going to pay for that tea. That tea is not even that good. I don't want to pay extra for that tea. Anyway, so on 1773, I think it was like December or something, some colonists, they painted themselves as like Indians, like stereotypical Indians, which would be very anti-PC in this day and age. They went on those ships and they just threw the tea overboard, and there was a lot of tea on that ship. There was a lot of tea on that ship. Too much tea, as a matter of fact. Too much tea. Got that Boston Tea Party, sis. But yeah, that really angered the British because, you do not mess with the British and their tea. They want their tea. They need that tea. The tea is so good. And they did close that port, and it was just not, they were not having it. And so let's just go, Lexington and Concord. These are important. This is important right here. These two cities were the starting points of the American Revolution. Lexington and Concord. So basically, what happened? The beginning. Yeah, basically, it was where it began. Let me just look it up real quick just to confirm. Lexington and Concord. Yes, the battles of Lexington and Concord were the first military engagements of the American Revolutionary War. It was in 1775. It happened in 1775. it was two battles which kind of happened really close to each other. Uh, the two battles happened in 1775, Lexington, Concord. Yeah, well, there are multiple shots in Rumble, but yeah, that one. And yeah, about Lexington, Concord, it was basically where the American Revolution started. And yeah, that's just kind of where things reached just kind of like a, oh, dang, we're actually having a war? And then some important people, I mentioned this before, Paul Revere. He rode through the countryside warning of the approach of the British troops who had a lot of ammunition and were ready to shoot and to kill. The lantern thing, one if by land, two if by sea, uh, rode on horseback. The British are coming, and you know what happens next. So yeah, there are a lot of So, oh boy, look at this. The Declaration of, and I'm skipping ahead, by the way. There's no way I can cover the entire curriculum in one night without my actual brain exploding. It's exploding right now, but in very slow motion. So the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. I'm sure you know that date because it's very, 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 very important in our history. There's some nice fireworks that happen every year because of it. It's very fun. I usually just watch my neighbor's illegal fireworks from next door. And basically, what it did, it dissolved colonist ties with Britain, and it was just being extra at King George III, and it declared colonies to be independent, which was very, very important. It's like the revolution was actually, hold on, you're going too far right here. A revolution is revolutionary? You're getting too woke up in here. Alright, so important people to note, Benedict Arnold, the traitor. The freaking traitor, Benedict Arnold. So, he was a colonel in the Connecticut militia, and he won some battles for America, but then he was caught because he was going to surrender a fortress to the British in exchange for some money because he was pretty in debt, and so he became a full-fledged English citizen. God, getting too woke up in here. It is 9 where I am. I'm just. So, some major battles that should be noted are Saratoga and Valley Forge. So, I'm just reading through this real quick. Hold on. I'm just looking up. Yeah, yes, that's it. I was looking for the bloodiest battle, an American bloodiest. Never mind, wrong point. I was jumping ahead a bit. I was going all the way to the Civil War, to the Battle of Antietam, which was allegedly the bloodiest battle of the Civil War, but that's way in the future. It hasn't even happened yet. All right, let's just jump all the way ahead because we have a lot to cover, and we are not even like a fifth of the way through. So, Treaty of Paris, 1783. This treaty ended the Revolutionary War and recognized the independence of the American colonies and granted the colonies the territory from the southern border of Canada to the northern border of Florida. So it was all the way from here to Florida and from Atlantic coast to Mississippi River. So about half, or maybe even 3/4 No, not 3/4. No, 1/3 of what the country is today. So the country still had a bit of growing to do. So some social impacts of the war were it saw the emergence of first anti-slavery groups. And many of the Northern states abolished slavery after the war, and basically, yeah. And so, Articles of Confederation. So, right after the war, the oh no, the people in power decided that there should be a document to outline what there is to do in this new bright shiny new country, and the Articles of Confederation were born. So the Articles of Confederation were not the Constitution. It was the Constitution .5. It was the pre-Constitution. Yeah, that's basically what it gave. It was the biggest flaw. It gave states a lot of power, like so much power. I think they could like declare war on each other. Like, for example, if it was around today, if Michigan was really upset because their football team lost against Ohio's football team, I know there's a big rivalry between them. They could declare war on each other, which was not fun. Not fun at all, because we don't need that. We don't need all this drama happening between the states. I mean, like, sure. Of course. Football, of course, is the biggest issue to have a war over. But like, bruh, we don't need this. We don't need this war. Anyway, and so the biggest problem is that it gave the federal government not a lot of power. It gave it very little weakness, and they couldn't unite the country. It gave the states a lot of power. And a major success is that it settled Western land claims with the Northwest Ordinance, which Northwest Ordinance was basically it divided it helped divide several states in the Middle West. I'm just looking up on online because my mind is blinking. Anyway, so Northwest Ordinance, it broke up the states in the Northwest part of the country at the time. Right now, it's not the Northern West; it's more of the Midwest. It broke up Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And so, because the Articles of Confederation were pretty bad and they weren't helping a lot, the Constitution was born. So it established the present federal government of the United States and outlined its powers. This was the best, probably the best document, not counting the Great Declaration of Independence, that came out of early America. That was the most impactful in setting up the government. And so yeah, Constitution really just went into depth on how everything should be handled, and they divided power like more accordingly, and didn't just give it all to the states, and very little was left for the federal government. So yeah, they just outlined the government, they outlined the legislature, they outlined the branches of the government, the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch. And so yeah, the Northwest Ordinance, it divided the big territory into like some stuff. Shays Rebellion, it was an American rebellion that happened after the end of the American Revolution, which was pretty unique because of that. So it's because it happened when poor, like in-debt landowners in Massachusetts blocked access to courts and prevented the government from arresting or repossessing the property of those in debt. And the federal government was pretty weak at that point because Articles of Confederation, and to help out to remove it, and the Shays Rebellion was basically just a sign that the Articles of Confederation that was like, it was not good. Let me just skip ahead really quick because oh my gosh, so much stuff to cover. I'm just kind of just. Alright, so let's get to President George Washington. He is the OG, number one pres. He established presidential traditions, limiting the terms to 2 terms. He was against political parties. He was very unipartisan. He didn't want any political parties. And he wanted strong political balance in government by appointing political adversaries to government positions, which was, a common thing in most of the presidents today. My God, I'm so tired. His farewell address. Yeah, he was really extra about his farewell address. He, published it in, a newspaper. He didn't even, I don't think he read it publicly. He just kind of, slid into, a national newspaper. It was like, hey, just, print this. But what is it? Just just print it. Just print it. So, just looking through, Bank of the U.S., pretty important. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. My head is hurting. The Whiskey Rebellion. Yeah, we did not listen to that. Nope. If we had listened to George Washington, word for word, things would be very different today. Very, very, very different. But we didn't listen to him word by word, and now we have the way things work now, which is a fun time. So yeah. So literally right after George Washington left, the beginnings of the political parties just basically took root, just as he said that they shouldn't, but they did anyway. We had the Federalists and the Democrat Republicans, and the Federalists' programs were the national bank and taxes to support the growth of the industry. They're very industry oriented, and the Democratic Republicans. Peace. God, I want to eat something right now. I'm so hungry, but I'm on that AP grind right now, so I've got a little more things to occupy myself with. Ooh. Alien Sedation Acts. They were signed by President Adams, the second president, which increased the waiting period for an immigrant to become a citizen from 5 to 14 years. The Alien Acts, which empowered the president to arrest and deport dangerous aliens. Whenever I hear aliens, I just think of freaking E.T. and I just have to remind myself, no, alien just means foreigner. Maybe one day it might mean that as well. Who knows? Let me just look them up real quick. So yeah, basically it just made it really hard for an immigrant to become a citizen because, it really be like that sometimes. Oh God, my back is killing me. I've been freaking slouched for the entire live stream and just having a fun, learning-filled time. I'm learning so much right now. Just you know how it is. You really know how it is, and yeah. So Virginia and Kentucky resolutions, they're written or not. Okay. Let's just skip forward a little bit, just a little bit. The Great Second Great Awakening, French Alliance, French Revolution, XYZ affair, XYZ affair. Fun little time. So the XYZ affair was a kind of a big old political and diplomatic episode, and it was a confrontation between the U.S. and France, which is kind of a mess at that time because, I mean, I think it was kind of drifting towards the age of Napoleon, which was pretty messy, and I'm just messaging my friend who's also an Apush about the live stream of Tom Ritchie. Yeah, that's his name, Tom Ritchie. And it is a real nice little bond. Just messaging each other based on live stream, just helping each other out because that's how students do, and up in here. So yeah, XYZ affairs. So much stuff. Okay, let's just skip all the way ahead to the War of 1812. So the War of 1812 was a big outrage of American soldiers by the impressment of American sailors by the British. So there's a term, I swear, it was a term that said in which that an American ship couldn't port in places, and so I don't know. It was a really complicated little spiel. It was a war between the U.S. and Great Britain caused by American outrage over the impressment of American sailors by the British, the British seizure of American ships, yes, and British aid to Indians attacking Americans on the western frontier. So the British was just being really extra at America. They were helping the Indians on the western frontier, and they were just ransacking the American ships, and they wouldn't let them port in various places. They were just being really extra, and this War of 1812. War of 1812. There was also a big spiel about the Bank War, which was let me just. So it was. But this is drifting towards the age of Jackson, which is a messy time. It was a campaign which was led by Andrew Jackson, who was interesting, man. He was I have a lot of opinions about him. He wanted to destroy the second bank of the United States. And he wanted to destroy the bank because oh my god, I need some music right here. I swear there's some really good music on this classical music that just makes you really think and just get really focused. I'll get to that when I get to that. So, War of 1812, American won, obvi. It was a lot of, the interesting little thingamajig that came out of that war was that the OG White House was burned down. The OG one that was built was burned down, and yeah, it was just really bad time. But this is important because this put Andrew Jackson in the spotlight because he was a general during the War of 1812, and that just kind of made an incentive for him to later become president, put him on the path to presidency. So yeah, I'm just going down. God, I wanna go to bed. To come soon. So I don't know. It's getting really really interesting. Just the age of Jackson, Hartford Convention, Treaty of Ghent. Ooh, Treaty of Ghent. So the Treaty of Ghent ended the War of 1812 and it just kind of made everything better again. Just slap a little band-aid on that boo-boo, and just, nothing ever happened. The last 2 years, it never even happened. No, it didn't even happen. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's okay. It's it basically everything, all the territory that's captured in the war was returned to the original people who had it before the war. So basically, the War of 1812 did not accomplish too much. It did uh, have create some pretty interesting things. Hold on a second. Yeah, but not important. Anyway, it introduced a lot of interesting things to pop culture, such as the Star Spangled Banner, which was about the which is the national anthem, very important. Also, Uncle Sam, who let me just look up Uncle Sam real quick. Cause I was he introduced in War of 1812? Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was. It was a recruitment poster. It was wanting people to be involved in the U.S. Army. So, two things that were important to American pop culture were the Star Spangled Banner and Uncle Sam, who is supposed to be the physical embodiment of America as a person, just patriotism as a person. So yeah. And basically the War of 1812 increased American pride and it made people feel proud to be American. Basically, I mean, like, want people to feel happy about being an American. All right, so moving on. Monroe Doctrine. So, Monroe Doctrine said basically that America should be very exclusively, actually, really independent. And it said that Europe should not interfere in any affairs of the Western Hemisphere at all, not even a little bit. And it said that any attempts by any kind of interference by any European power to the U.S. is a threat, and stuff needs to happen to that European power, whatever power messes with the United States. And it was just basically just saying America is its own America, and if anyone tries to say that's not the case, then you are an enemy, and we are going to have a war against you. Yeah, the era of good feelings. It was like a nice little bubbly little time during the term of President Monroe, who was interesting to note that Monroe was the last American, who was the last person from the American Revolution. I mean, up until that time, everyone who was served as president was an influential was an influential part of the American Revolution, and James Monroe was the last of these influential people during the last of these influential people during in the presidency. Missouri Compromise, which was admitted Missouri as a free state, and at the same time admitted Maine. Okay, so Missouri Compromise meant it was just Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, and the 3630 allowed to become anything above that line would be free states, and all territories south of that line would become slave states. That is known as the Mason-Dixon line. Very important, very influential. I remember watching How the States Got Their Shaped episode, and there's one little thing I think about a lot about how the Texas Panhandle, how that little nook in Oklahoma came to be true. It was because of that little tiny little notch that was above that Texas had above the Mason-Dixon line, and they're like, no, we are 100% slave state. So they just got rid of that little nook, and they gave it to Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma just kind of like they just kind of take it, like free land. I'm not gonna argue with that. So Eli Whitney, Cotton Gin. Erie Canal, the building of the Erie Canal, it was a waterway which connected New York to the Great Lakes. Very important for shipping commerce to budding cities, budding places along the Great Lakes, namely Chicago. Chicago definitely would not be as big as it is today without the Erie Canal. It is one of the biggest three cities. I think it's the third biggest city in America at this point. And so yeah, Erie Canal definitely was like really important in this. Oh my god! And by the way, we just hit 1 hour of streaming. 1 hour of streaming. I'm on. Oh, hold on. I want to do something really extra. Oh my. Oh, I'm gonna do really extra. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, we just hit 1 hour of streaming. 1 hour of streaming. I don't even know what I'm doing. Anyway, so that should be really cool. It's a little interactive thing. Oh my god, we got a freaking one person watching this. What? Anyway, so in this time period, in the early to mid 19th century, a lot of new states came to be because there were new state charters that were signed and went through. So basically, I'm just going through blah 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 blah. The Jacksonian Revolution. Oh boy, here we go. So when Jackson was elected, he thought that he could make the American dream come true. There wasn't like a specific term for the American dream at that point, but Jackson had an idea of what it was in his mind, and he wanted it to be true. And so what he did in order to achieve this is that he appointed just regular old people, not like regular old people, but like people who weren't as like kind of like on like the levels like a high esteemed person, graduated from like freaking double doctor from Harvard University, just kind of like people who are just more like relaxed in their expertise. And it was like, I don't know, like small businessmen and like city workers and like farmers like attached to government positions. And he was known as the common man because he did all this. And basically his president was called the age of the common man because he felt like government should be run by just regular old people who literally would have like nothing to do with the outside, with like the boys club that had, I mean, like at that point, I mean, even so today, there's like a boys club that surrounds the whole schism of politics, and it's difficult to kind of like break into that. And so Jackson said, you know what, freaking heck, the boys club, we're doing our own thing up in here. And that's how the age of the common man started. So Trail of Tears. Oof, oof, oof. That's a major blunder in American history. And yeah, so basically what happened is that the Cherokee tribe had surrounded their Georgia land, and they just thought that the best place to put all these Indians were not with the white people, because the white people at that time were considered just a lot more superior to these Indians. So we gotta take these Indians and put them in a place that we cannot see them, which they decided to be Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma is freaking has no. I don't think Cherokee is a native to Oklahoma now. So they evicted them from their tribal homes in Georgia, and they sent them on a really long and horrible path to the Indian Territory, which is now present-day Oklahoma. And a lot of people died on this trail because, I don't know, because they were not, they I don't know, they basically just walked the entire way, and I don't know, it was called the Trail of Tears. I don't know if you heard of it. So yeah, now let's talk about the Whigs. So the Whigs were conservative people, and they're popular with pro-bank people and plantation owners. and they mainly came from the Republican Party, which was basically founded from the ruins of the Federalist Party. God, this is a fun time. Ooh, one thing I forgot to mention is that I believe that the Federalists were blamed for the War of 1812. They because they kind of just forced America to go into it. So yeah. So yeah, God, I'm having a fun time right now. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just taking a little break in just me actually just like doing stuff because I'm so tired. Anyway, back to the grind. So, compromise tariff of 1833. No. God, it's too late for this. Ooh, Panic of 1837. So when Jackson was president, it was many state banks received government money that had been withdrawn from the Bank of the U.S. and the banks issued paper money, and they financed like wild speculation. And let me just look it up so I have a better idea of what it is. Panic. Honestly, I think I might just like end this like really soon because I'm really tired. So it was a financial crisis that that was caused by. Oh God, I think I'm gonna just go to bed, even though it's like freaking 9. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go to bed. I know we only just got to like the 1840s. No, okay, screw it. Let's just do a crash course, and we're gonna go really fast because my class did a really good job of covering the 19th, late 19th and 20th century and early 21st century. They did a really good job on that, and I'm really proud of myself because I got a freaking A on one of the tests. And don't you even at me because it's harder than you think to get like an A on one of those ridiculously difficult Apush tests. I got an A, and it was on 1945 to now, and it was not fun, but I did it. So, Panic 1837 was an economic crisis. Transcendentalism was a movement, which I'm studying in English, was called by Ralph Waldo Emerson, wanted to return to the nature. So, and Edgar Allan Poe. The movement, the Mormonism movement, which moved the Mormons to present-day Utah, led by Brigham Young University. They founded Mormon Republic of Deseret, which is now Utah. That's why there's a lot of Mormons in Utah. Dorothea Dix. She was a pioneer in treating the mentally ill, and she had a lot to do with insane asylums around the U.S. And okay, so nativism. Okay, so Elizabeth Cady Stanton was a really important person in the women's suffrage movement. Manifest Destiny. So it was very commonly used in the 1840s and 50s, and it was basically advocated for the expansion of the U.S. to the Pacific. That's what Manifest Destiny means. So Texas War for Independence. So it was you know, it basically declared independence from Mexico, and that Texas became an independent state for about 10 years. Era of Good Feelings. Yeah, we already did the Era of Good Feelings. It was all the way back. It was based on part of Monroe. Monroe, and basically, he was like, because, we already did that. Era of Good Feelings. I'm gonna look it up really quick for you. Right, so Era of Good Feelings. It was reflected a sense of national purpose and desire for unity among Americans because the War of 1812 just happened and people were feeling really good about themselves because, hey, we just won a big war against the people we had won a war against like 30 years ago. That's really good. So, Republic of Texas, annexation of Texas, 1845. James K. Polk. Mexican-American War. There was some tension because America had annexed America had annexed Texas, excuse me. America had annexed Texas, and Mexico was not happy about that. Ooh, abolitionist movement. So, militant effort to do away with slavery. It was, I mean, abolitionism is basically just saying that we are morally against slavery. Slavery America should have nothing to do with slavery at all. Some people who were like notable abolitionists were William Lloyd Garrison and yeah, William Lloyd Garrison. He was pretty influential in this movement. Let's move on really quick. Nat Turner's insurrection. It was a slave uprising that happened when a group of about 60 or so slaves led by Nat Turner. He believed he was kind of like a messiah, like along those of like Jesus Christ, even though he was so not. I mean, if he was, then that it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have ended horribly because like all of them were killed, and the only thing that happened was slave states strengthened measures against slaves, and it was more united in their support of fugitive slave laws. So it really didn't do much, only just strengthen tensions between regarding the matter of slaves. Frederick Douglass. So Frederick Douglass was a self-educated slave who escaped in 1838 and became one of the best known abolitionist speakers. Okay. The First Great Awakening. Alright. So, First Great Awakening, well, right now I'm in the middle of the 1850s, so that's a bit, I can do that real quick. So the First Great Awakening, it was a series of Christian revivals that swept Britain and 13 colonies in the 1730s and 40s, and it had an impact on Protestantism in America. And it just, I'll just do a little bit of poking. So basically, why the First Great Awakening was happening was it was happening at a time when idea of secular rationalism was being emphasized. I'll just look at that real quick. So basically, secular rationalism was like seeking like the truth and stuff. So it was a time when when like seeking out the truth and stuff, how it was like really popular and passionate. A little thing, but I am totally my fault. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, where were we? Oh yes, Great Awakening. And so basically it happened when passion for religion had grown stale, and this, okay, let's do this really quick. Okay. Okay, so First Great Awakening, it was kind of like a restart in the passion for religion in the United States, and it was just kind of a spiritual just revolution, and it there are a few factors that came into play, some of which being the minister there was some there was the British minister called George Whitefield, who he came to America and he toured up and down the Atlantic coast. He preached his message, and he was a very charismatic person, which was effective if in just kind of like resparking an interest in religion in the First Great Awakening. And uh, so yeah, it was just kind of a religious revival that was based around some uh, some it was based around some themes that included all people are born sinners, sin without salvation will send a person to hell, and all people can be saved if they confess their sins to God and seek forgiveness. Just some few themes. There was also the Second Great Awakening, which occurred after America's independence in the 1790s, and it's less like emotionally charged during the First Great Awakening, but it did lead to the creation of several important colleges. Okay, and so the colleges and churches. So some effects of the Great Awakening was that Great Awakening altered religious climate in the colonies, and denominations of Christian sects, such as the Methodists and the Baptists, they grew quickly, and just so yeah, it had a significant impact on what Christianity meant to what Christianity meant. Okay, so presidential reconstruction versus okay. So what's a okay? So the president. Okay, I'm just like doing some research right here. So just like doing some research really quick. So a radical. Okay, I've been asked to do this little thing. Okay, so a presidential reconstruction was an event that happened in the after the Civil War, during the Andrew Johnson administration, which was he was Lincoln's VP who took his term after Lincoln had been assassinated, and he and when he wanted to he kind of wanted to speed up everything that was happening in the Union as fast as possible, and he wanted to implement his plans, which way longer than 15 minutes off there. So presidential reconstruction was just Andrew Johnson's attempt to just speed things up in the reconstruction. So what he did is that returned confiscated property to white Southerners. He issued hundreds of pardons to former Confederate soldiers and government officials, and yeah, he just wanted to speed everything up and just kind of put a big band-aid on everything and all the horribleness that was caused during the Civil War, which was a pretty bad call on his part. Okay, listen, I gotta end this in a little while because I have a thing I need to take care of, but I will, if I can get out of that and come back, I will. So right now we are in, well, right now we're just kind of flying all over the place because we're just kind of having fun with this. If we can have fun with this, so yeah. Alright, so let's talk about the Dred Scott case. So the Dred Scott case was when a Missouri slave sued for his freedom, and he claimed that the 4-year stay in the northern portion of Louisiana made free land by it was because of the Missouri Compromise. It made that northern part of Louisiana of northern part of the Louisiana territory at that time, it was pretty big. It was made free land by the Missouri Compromise, and he would declare that he was in fact a free man. But because the U.S. Supreme Court decided he couldn't sue in court because he was not technically a American citizen, but just rather property, so his claims were rendered invalid, which is pretty bad. So, okay, so just browsing through this. Yes, very good stuff. You know how it is. So let's just go into some link to Quizlet. Link to Quizlet. Yes, let me just, okay. This quiz I'm on right now is very overwhelming. It has like close to 1,000 terms. It's definitely not meant for, like, at this point, the night before the freaking exam. No, it's more just kind of like just to browse through and just to kind of like study what you want to learn specifically, and not just to grasp not to grasp like literally every single concept. So let me just link it in the bio right now, just really quick. And freaking heck. Okay. So here's a link to Quizlet. I'm putting it in the bio right here. So this is the Quizlet I'm using. If you want, I could probably find a less overwhelming freaking Apush Quizlet. So yeah, let me just put that in the bio really quick. There. It is. Oh, let me just freaking heck. It is. I think it's in. Yeah, it's in the bio right now, and yeah. You know what they say? Threes get degrees. I swear. My God. When I was in freshman year, mind you, I took the AP World History exam for funsies because I thought, you know what, I got an A in World History, why not just take the AP exam? It was pretty rough, a lot difficult than I expected it to be, and you know, your boy pulled a 4, even though I did not study, like, at all, except the night before, which is basically what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I think yeah, the Quizlet has been posted in the bio, so if you want to go and check that out, you can. I also posted, I think Tom Ritchie's hangout has ended at this point. But the link is in there if you just kind of like want to watch along, because it's kind of like a podcast. I've said this before. You can, you know, just listen, absorb the information. There's a Quizlet. You know, you can just browse through it and just kind of get some information from that, if you will. And so yeah. Oh my God, I got like a lot of people here all of a sudden. Hi. You from New York or New Jersey? I'm from neither. Oh God, I'm from New England, but I am not there anymore because I moved. Right, so let's get back to the Quizlet. I got a respectable amount of people in audience. So yeah, let's just go through these little terms right here, and just, so basically, if you have like anything you want to like clarify, like for example, you want to learn about, I don't know, the Battle of Antietam, or just Truman Doctrine. But yeah, Truman Doctrine. We're jumping in really ahead right here. We're just being like, at this point, let's just kind of like put our heads together and just like give some terms that you just kind of want to learn about and learn in depth about. So the Truman Doctrine basically was American foreign policy, which was set in stone by Harry Truman, who was the president that was kind of dealt with kind of like the recovery after World War II. And the stated purpose of the Truman Doctrine was to counter Soviet geopolitical expansion during the Cold War. And what it wanted to do was to counter all of the potential communist uprisings that were happening in countries that were in Europe that were in danger of falling to communism. The biggest example of this being Greece, which had a civil war that was going on, and because of the Truman Doctrine, well, we kind of stepped in and we helped influence the war by helping Greece economically, and economically, because it's important to note that the doctrine did not mean that physical force was used, but instead that just like we funded some money towards them. And Greece and Turkey were the two biggest examples of the success of the Truman Doctrine. Because of the Truman Doctrine, the communist forces in these countries were defeated by the democratic forces in these countries, which, yeah. So, Truman Doctrine, it had the goal of pushing out communism in European countries that had danger of falling to them. Okay, so next, Spanish-American War. This is more around the turn of the last century, as I recall. So, Spanish-American War, it was a war that lasted about 6 months in 1898. It was sparked because the United States had claimed that the USS Maine was blown up by the Spanish, which it probably wasn't. That USS Maine probably was not blown up by the Spanish. It was probably instead blown up by American faulty errors, I would say. And it was kind of sparked because the U.S. kind of had animosity towards Spain because there was some popular demand for U.S. intervention due to Cuban struggle for independence from Spain, and there's just a lot of pressure that was put on America to, in fact, declare war against Spain. So the USS Maine seemed like which is I think it was in Havana Harbor, and it blew up, and it was a great excuse for America just to get involved and to start a war in order to aid the Cubans in their struggle for independence from Spain. So, an important part of the Spanish-American War was Theodore Roosevelt, who was not president yet, but he was going to be president in just a few years. The Rough Riders, who fought during the Spanish-American War and were pretty influential, and so, and it was pretty influential in like popularizing Teddy Roosevelt, and kind of made him popular and made him put him in the spotlight. I mean, like, he'd been pretty prominent in American politics, but this just really pushed him into the spotlight. And I'm gonna just read through this little article right here. And so, and this has ended pretty promptly by America, and oh my God, I swear, another freaking Treaty of Paris. There were so many Treaty of Paris, I swear. I'm gonna look up Treaty of Paris, see what comes up. Treaty of Paris. Okay. So the treaty, so many Treaty of Paris, I swear. So the biggest Treaty of Paris was the Treaty of Paris that ended the American Revolution, which basically granted concessions to the winning forces, the Americans, and basically just said Britain stay out of America occur. And as we later know, that they did not do that because Britain was very, very, very salty about the entire thing, which led to the War of 1812. Fun times. And the Treaty of Paris that I'm looking at right now is the Treaty of Paris that was signed in part of the Spanish-American War, which renounced a lot of land that the Spanish had, including Cuba, which is not ours anymore, Guam, which is still ours, and Puerto Rico, which is also still ours, and also the Philippines were also transferred to ours, but for $20 million, and we were like, yeah, we want an American empire, and this put us in a really unique spotlight because we were somewhat of an empire now, and we were pretty influential. We were influential power in the world at that point. Because of this big event, we now owned land in now not one but two different continents, which was pretty notable at that time. So let's just go back to the live stream. JFK's New Frontier, yes. So, okay, so the New Frontier was used by JFK, which so JFK, he was a pretty he was one of the most progressive presidents to ever take office, and he had the goals of establishing new and progressive programs in America. Okay. Let me just scroll through this. So the New Frontier was made popular during his acceptance speech, and yeah, hold on, I'm just looking at some stuff. Okay, so New Frontier basically refers to economic and social programs of the presidency of JFK, and it just emphasized Kennedy's commitment to renewal and changing of American economically and socially. So he basically advocated that he wanted to bring in a new generation of leadership and a new man to cope with new problems and new opportunities. That is taken directly from his 1960 one of his speeches when he accepted the Democratic national nomination. It was taken right from the speech. And so he wanted to establish a new frontier, which was just a kind of a big change in economic, and wanted to change America economic and socially, and it was pretty similar to the New Deal of FDR and the Fair Deal of Truman. So yeah. I'm just browsing real quick. And the New Society was followed up by the Great Society. The New Frontier was followed up by the Great Society, which was LBJ's thing, in which let me just browse through this really quick. So yeah, some of the legislation and programs that were caused because of the New Frontier was increase in social security payments, increase in minimum wage, extension of aid to children of unemployed workers, jobless benefits. Just I don't know, just trying to just reform America economically. hold on, what did you comment? Space race and Peace Corps. Okay, space race. I love the space race. So, my god. The space race was kind of like a low key, just like it was like a competition between the U.S. and the USSR, based on technological achievements which allowed them to travel into space. And this was basically sparked with Sputnik, which was the very first man-made object to ever go into space. It was a satellite, and this was very problematic to the U.S. because, oh no, the USSR did something before the mighty U.S. of A. No, we cannot have that. So this kind of sparked a whole thing between the U.S. and the USSR, and they wanted to push each other to greater and greater limits in trying to achieve change and technological change by pushing them into space. It was also fueled kind of by the arms race that was happening between the countries, and it was just kind of like, it's kind of like kind of like set alongside the arms race, and it was just kind of like it was a competition between the U.S. and the USSR to see who could be on top of space. So some achievements of the USSR was the first satellite ever made, so the first man-made object to ever enter space, and the first man to ever enter space, Yuri Gagarin. He was the first man to ever enter space, and this was very problematic to the U.S. because not only had they had the first satellite ever enter space, but the first man to ever enter space, and America was very angry first, but they were like, that's cool, that's fine, you got that, fine, but like, I'm gonna beat you to the moon, and beat you to the moon, and of course they did, and this is fueled by JFK's promise to get Americans on the moon by the end of the decade, and it was a sense of motivation that he had put on NASA, which is NASA basically, he came out of the space race, by the way, and it put a lot of pressure on NASA to really just affirm this promise. Even after JFK had died, they still wanted to fulfill his promise, and they did. On July 20th of 1969, the Apollo had landed on the moon. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, and boom, they're on the moon. There are a few more Apollo missions before it was discontinued in the early 70s, and we have not been to the moon since. Well, satellites have been to the moon, but not humans. We just kind of focus on more domestic issues more than extraterrestrial issues, if you know what I mean. Peace Corps. Peace Corps. Okay, so Peace Corps. Okay, so the Peace Corps was a federal agency created by President Kennedy in 1961, which promoted voluntary service by Americans in foreign countries, and it provided labor power to help developing countries improve infrastructure, healthcare, educational systems, the whole shebang. So basically, the goal of the Peace Corps was to spark change and to help developing countries by sending American people. I mean, it was really unique in the sense that you didn't have to be overly qualified to do this. You could literally just sign up, and it was particularly easy for just an American commoner to just sign up and go to these developing countries and to help developing countries develop. And again, they try to help them improve their infrastructure, healthcare, educational systems. Just yeah. and it was like it was voluntary service and it provided labor in order to help power developing country. And yeah. Ugh. So yeah, honestly, if anyone else who's watching has anything else they'd like me to go over and just discuss and just make it clear in my head and in your head, and just kind of go over it, if you will. If you just have anything, oh my god, did you just hear that? We just hit 100 minutes. 100 minutes, wow. I've been up for doing this for freaking 100 minutes. What is wrong with me? So yeah, if anyone has any terms that they would want to go over, if not, then I guess I'll just end this, and just get that well-needed sleep that I need. But if not, if not, and if anyone has any terms they want to go over, I am here. I will be here to help you. We're gonna have a fun time. So yeah. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. Okay, so dollar diplomacy. It was a term that was created by Taft, who was the president in the early 20th century, and basically what it wanted to do was to ensure financial stability of a region while protecting and extending U.S. commercial and financial interests there. And so just brushing up on this stuff myself. So yeah, so basically at its core, it was a form of American foreign policy to further its aims in Latin America and East Asia through use of economic power by guaranteeing loans made to foreign countries. So it was kind of just like a down low, undercover thing that America used in order to increase like its aims that they wanted to have achieved in Latin America and East Asia by giving loans to foreign powers that would kind of just help America like achieve what they wanted to see happen in these countries. So yeah, and it was one of it was one of the things that was kind of like set in place by Roosevelt, who appointed Taft to be his right-hand man and to succeed everything he wanted to see happen, which did not happen. Theodore Roosevelt wanted someone who was like going to be as progressive as him and would achieve the things that he would have had he still been in power. That did not happen. Taft just kind of went on his own route and did his own thing, which angered Roosevelt to the point of entering the 1912 election, which kind of off-centered the entire thing, off-centered a lot of things, which allowed for Woodrow Wilson to emerge from the crowd and was later inaugurated as the next president. So honestly, like, if Roosevelt hadn't entered the 1912 election, then honestly Taft probably would have won. Alright, so we went over dollar diplomacy, moral diplomacy. Okay, so moral diplomacy, just jumping off of President Wilson, was foreign policy to condemn imperialism and to spread democracy and to promote peace. It was more pacifistic than dollar diplomacy, and it was, yeah, so dollar diplomacy was a lot more shadier and a lot more sneakier, and it just kind of like, it was very, I don't know, money-centered, by loaning countries money in order for them to just low-key just achieve what the United States wanted them to achieve. And moral diplomacy was more pacifistic. It was, so dollar diplomacy was Taft and moral diplomacy was Wilson, and it was in an effort to condemn imperialism and to spread democracy and to promote peace. So yeah. So yeah, if anyone else has like anything else they want to go over, I will be here, just chilling, I guess. Oh, no problem. I just serve. I'm actually having a fun time. You're welcome. You know, I just, I'm just doing a great community service by helping fellow struggling APs, AP U.S. history students by just helping them like understand stuff. You know how it is. Yeah, essay and DBQ. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have so much fun doing that DBQ. Ugh. So yeah, it's a very fun time. This whole thing. So how I think it's structured so there's multiple choice, some short answer, and then the DBQ, which is not fun. So I think if no one else has any does anyone have anything else they want to like go over or anything? Just before I sign off, because it is 10:30 where I live and I need to go to bed. Oh yeah, you too. Good luck to everyone watching on their what? The new right. Okay, so new right is probably the most modern thing that I've covered today. So, the new right was a conservative movement that happened, I believe, in the 80s, the 1980s, not the 1880s. That's like I said, modern. So that emphasized social issues as opposed to kind of like the usual things that conservatives oppose, such as abortion, homosexuality, and it refers to just a big conservative resurgence within the United States, and it was followed the mass liberation of America due to the Great Society by LBJ, and it saw a rise of a laissez-faire capitalism, which was one of the kind of the trademarks of the 1980s. It was a big resurgence in just laissez-faire capitalism. Being the stock market was going crazy, everyone was having a good fun time, and yeah, it was really influential in like establishing laissez-faire capitalism. So yeah, so the new right was and it was also an element of Christian religious leaders who were I'm just going through. Yeah. So and yeah, there's also a lot of Christian religious leaders that came to prominence. That you, yeah, yeah, that guy. And there are also a big emphasis on labor regulations, which at the time were undermining the competitiveness of American firms in the global markets. And yeah, and yeah, so the new right was just basically just a big resurgence in conservative behavior. It just kind of reshaped what being a conservative in America meant at that time. And it just kind of marked a shift for a particular part of the Republican Party to be more moderate. And okay, so yeah, and the new right also, there was also a whole thing about how people focus their energy on like a lot of like very controversial things, and they focus their energy on such as opposing abortion, and they block blocking the equal rights amendments, and yeah, they just kind of wanted they kind of want to return to, yeah, it was just kind of like a modification. Oh, I'm so very tired. So yeah, I think that is about it. If anyone else has anything they'd like to just go over real quick. Oh my god, I've almost been here for 2 hours. Wow. Yeah, this is the end of the live stream. I definitely will eat well in the morning because I know from experience taking an AP exam on an empty stomach is not a fun time. And I wish luck to everyone on the AP exam. You're gonna do great. You're gonna answer that multiple choice, gotta do those essay questions, gotta do that TBQ. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a very fun time. I'm about to go. And if you want to, you could just, follow me on Instagram. I'm about to shout out my Instagram. Follow me on there. I am BennyBoy317. I'll repeat that, BennyBoy317. I'm also, that's the exact same username on Twitter and Snapchat as well, if you want that kind of thing. So yeah, so BennyBoy317 on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. So yep, that's it right there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my AP US History study session, and yeah, it's been fun. I hope you guys have a great time taking the test tomorrow. And let's be real, it's not going to be fun, but let's just hope we can just like get through it and just get on with our lives. Goodbye everyone, it's been fun. Once again, BennyBoy317 on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Goodbye everyone, about to leave. It's been real fun, just chilling out with my my Apush pals. It's been fun. Goodbye.